Terry, for joining me. You are a veteran just like myself, and now you are associated with Evan Carmichael, and your intention is to just inform people on the importance of personal development and success. So, can you please tell me why those topics are important to you?
So, personal investment, it's one of those things that you have to invest within yourself before you can invest in others. So, and I truly believe in that. I truly believe that the face of education is changing right before our eyes. Last couple of years, since we've all been back at home, there's been people that have been successful in the face of that adversity. So for me, I truly believe that the people that did not just like in the last 2 years just go on TikTok and Instagram and all this social media stuff, that actually took the time to invest in themselves, their mindset, their education. Those are the people that once all this is over, they are going to succeed. They will, even if they're not already succeeding, they will be very well positioned to succeed when life, so to speak, goes back to normal. Here's what I mean by that. During the last 2 years, I've built multiple businesses within the last 2 years because I got nothing better to do. I'm at home. Now, don't get me wrong, I have a day job, but I also have more opportunity since I'm at home to do a lot of different things. I still invest in myself. I still take classes. I still take courses. I'm a student at Villanova University. I'm a Lean Six Sigma black belt. So I have a business degree. But now I'm taking it that next step further. What's that next step that's going to separate me from everybody else? So that's where these certification programs come into play. I'm a black belt Lean Six Sigma, agile management, cybersecurity expert. I got human resources management. I've got, did I already say agile? Agile management. I've got, what am I taking now? I'm taking contracting now. So now I'm getting certified as a government civilian contractor. There's opportunity out there for each and everybody listening to this to invest in yourself. And it all starts right there, but you have to make that decision to invest in yourself.
Absolutely. It's good. You are well diversified. I should say this because you have all the credentials. We need more cybersecurity jobs. You are covered in that because you already have that certification, which is great. So for me, the mindset is very, very important because I started doing this. I started listening to you and the rooms that you hold, and I pick up a lot of things from that room, especially when it comes to how we use our minds. Our minds are the most important driving factors of life, period. And most of us fail to realize that. We just let our minds just run. So in your path and in your career that you're doing now, what are the takeaways that you have gotten over the years about mindset, about the importance of using your mind?
So the mind is a powerful thing. It truly is. It's one of those things that if you strengthen it, because it's a muscle, if you strengthen your mind, you will be able to have resilience. You will be able to bounce back no matter what comes your way. And I see a lot of people that fill their minds with just absolute negativity. What you value most, you will take action on. And it's one of those things to where if you value sitting on the couch, flipping through channels, that's what you value. And that's what you're going to strengthen. You're going to strengthen that thumb right there. And you're going to be a power channel surfer. It's one of those things to where you see all the books behind me. I've chosen to read. I've chosen to take courses. I've chosen to do certifications. I've chosen to take education. I truly believe that when you build that right there, it doesn't matter what comes your way, because you are going to have a tip, a tool, a technique, a resource, a way to just dissolve that, no matter what it is. And don't get me wrong, I still to this day struggle. I still struggle with internal self-talk and negativity. I still struggle with that. But you know what? The first part of overcoming any problem within your life is to first admit that you have a problem. So I admit that. I respect those things. But you know what? I don't let it stop me. I don't stop there. Most people stop. They get that resistance, they get that friction, they get that adversity, that struggle. It's like, oh, I quit, I'm out. And for me, I built that muscle so that no matter what comes my way, something for that.
Yeah, yeah. Self-doubt. Oh my goodness. The one of the things that I read that creates self-doubt is failure. And there is no way you're going to be able to be resilient in this life without failing. So if you are able to talk yourself out of all the self-doubt that you have, you have a chance of being successful, at least if you don't give up. so many things that so many people have tried and they've given up over the years. Do you have any failures you can highlight for us here?
I fail all the time. Uh, I mean that. I literally mean that. I fail all the time. Now, here's the difference maker. The difference maker is that I don't look at those failures as the end all be all. Some people fail and they quit. But here's the difference between that. When you quit, that's when you fail. For me, it's a roadblock. It's a little bit of adversity. It's not quite success, but I don't really look at it as failure. Even though just said that I fail all the time, I don't really achieve the desired outcome or the results. Once again, so you see how I modified the language there? And it's a languaging game. It truly is, because when you play this little game with yourself, you modify that, you tweak that languaging. I'm not failing. I just didn't achieve success. So
Mm,
from that point, I can modify, tweak, change, continue taking action and get a different result. You've heard me talk about this. And when I
mhm.
get that different result, I'm able to take a look at that. And then from that result, I can figure out, okay, here's what went right. These are the things that went right. I can take those and I can put those in my toolkit because they work. They went right. I know that they work. So the next time that I'm facing that thing right there, I've got a tool for that. I can take action on that thing. Now, the middle part here is what needs improvement. These are the things that didn't work out so well. From those things, I can take a look at that and like, okay, it didn't work. Why did it not work? Was it a lack of maybe resources? Was it a lack of information, knowledge, skills, experience? Why did that not work? And then what I do is I figure out, okay, what action can I take within that thing to where I can improve that, to where I take it from a needs improvement over to a success. The idea is to continue working on those things that needs improvement until you can make them successes or tools that you can put within your toolkit until you achieve the desired results to where there's no longer any improvement. Here's where it gets really tricky. Where it gets really tricky is that after you've achieved your results, you have nothing else that needs improvement. Everything's over here and that's what's working right. How can you improve that? Then you got to periodically come back and review that, figure out how you can modify, tweak that, change that, and improve upon that. That way you're constantly getting better and
Mhm.
you're climbing the ladder to success. Hopefully that was helpful.
No, that is helpful. But so my next question will be, how then would you know that you should just stop?
You never
Because if you
stop.
no, because if something's not working, okay, so um, I am a data scientist, right? And we
Mhm.
analyze how things function, and there are some projects that you know will not work, that you know you should just give up and stop pumping money into it. So
Mhm.
if you are like an individual and you're trying to build a business and you're just pumping money into it, at what point do you say, this business is probably not for me, I need to walk away? So that's the
So,
trick.
so look at it this way. Money is a resource.
Mm-hmm.
It's a resource. That's all that it is.
Mm-hmm.
And money will only solve money problems. So if you're pumping money into something, it might not be a money problem. It might be a people problem. It might be a resource problem. Look, let me share something with you here real quick. I have a framework. It's called the five rights. If you want to achieve success within this world, you must adhere to what I call the five rights. Being in the military, you can respect this because I used to actually say this when I was in the military. I used to say, look, y'all need to adhere to the five rights. If you adhere to the five rights, you will never be wrong. Now, they've changed since I've become a civilian. Now, for me, the five rights are be at the right place, at the right time, with the right information, the right resources, the right attitude, and the right action. If you adhere to those five rights, you will never be wrong. I guarantee you that anything within this life, if you want to achieve success on, comes down to you taking action on any one of those five rights. Money, it's a resource. Time, it's a resource. People, resource. You see where I'm going with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And when you're able to categorize certain things, what is data? Data is also a resource, but it's also information. And depending on how you look at that, you can choose to take a different action on the data. It may be instead of pumping money, maybe I need to have different people in there. So as you analyze things, you're analyzing things from an overall perspective, because if you only analyze things from a money perspective, you're only going to see the money problems of that. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. But the thing is that money does create problems. It creates depression. It creates like people that cannot dissociate themselves from the fact that money is the driving factor for them. They get invested into it. So we are going to move on from the topic because failure is something that is very, very complex for me. I have been trying to look into it. I don't know where we all got this idea that we actually fail at something and we succeed at something. I think that there's a drive inside of us that pushes us to do what we want to achieve, right? So in all the accreditations that you've accomplished, which one do you think is your most driving factor? Which one are you most pulled to do?
Within all the accreditations, I mean, here's the thing. I got my business degree years ago, so a lot of the knowledge, the skills, the experience that I have is no longer relevant. So I can't say my business degree. I would say that probably my certification in information technology. And here's the reason why. Because information technology is not going to go away. It's going to continue to evolve. But if you do not, as a young person or middle age or even an older person, more seasoned person, if you will, I'm over 50, so I'm a little more seasoned. And it's one of those things to where it served me well. That's the reason why I say IT, because it's really been the biggest one that has served me well. All this other stuff, the Lean Six Sigma, the agile management, all this human resources management, cybersecurity helped out a little bit there. But I would say IT, having a strong background in information technology has been my biggest serving factor because it's allowed me to stay resilient. It's allowed me to stay current with the times. And as I'm continuing to evolve by learning different parts and elements and pieces of information technology, it's allowed me to change my life and my business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially now that we're moving towards everything. My life changed when I started using social media. I think I'm in
Mm.
the addiction phase, which is fine. I'm fine with that. I don't even care if people think that I'm addicted to social media. It's fine. It's my time to shine. And the thing about it is, I am finding that there is a lot of opportunities on social media. And I am finding that with opportunities come the downfall, right? There are people that are in there that are just they don't want to do the work. They just want to take from people, which is why the scammers, I'm trying to describe the scammers, right?
Mm.
Um, they just want your information. So instead of putting their energy into something, doing something productive with what they have, they're trying to just use it to gather something that's easier for them. So information technology, I would say, is the path to is the new path for us to communicate with one another, to whatever it is. I've seen people go on, especially clubhouses where we met, they go on Clubhouse and they talk to psychologists there. This is what social media is doing. So what is the most important social media platform that you have used so far, or the most productive?
For me, there's two. I would say Instagram and Clubhouse. And here's the reason why, because it's allowed me to interact and engage with people in real time. And that's the reason why. And that's important because I can do an Instagram live stream and I can engage in real time. I can answer questions in real time. I can coach in real time. I can solve problems in real time. I can give value. I can receive value. So that's the reason why Instagram. Same thing for Clubhouse. I've literally ran rooms in Clubhouse to where we're topic-based conversations and someone introduces something within the topic and it's like, you know what, conversation over. You and I need to get on a private call and we need to talk. And
Mhm.
I've done that. I've ended a live conversation on Clubhouse to go help somebody. Not that I'm always looking for that, but it's one of those things to where it's that live interaction engagement that has allowed me to build, grow, and scale not only my life but my mindset and my business. So I've done multiple things on Clubhouse because it's live, it's engaging, and that's what people are looking for. People are not looking for a brand, so to
Mhm.
speak,
Mhm.
because corporate people hide behind a brand, hide behind a name, hide behind a logo. Well, yeah, and I'll use a great example, Nike, for example. Nobody really knows who Nike is. Who's Nike? Well, Nike is you. It's me. It's LeBron James. It's Michael Jordan. It's, Kobe Bryant. It's the people that are really the brand of Nike. Nike makes shoes. They got a little swoosh. It's great. It's branding. It's a logo. But who is Nike? And I think that as you get on some of these social media platforms, I really believe that there's a lot of opportunity to be the face of yourself and your business. And if you do that, you will succeed within social media. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are hiding behind motivational posts, brands, or funky names.
Yeah. Yep. I almost got teary-eyed, but I believe I'm strong. So because when you said when you said that you had to interrupt a live call on social on
Mhm.
Clubhouse and intervene, it just hit me that I've actually experienced that. I've experienced that in psychology room where this girl came in and she's like, I am not doing okay today. I'm not doing okay. And everything paused. And
Mm.
because now she is telling us that she is not doing okay, and now you have to show up for her because now you are responsible because she came to your room and she's telling you this, so you have to pause and take charge, be responsible at that moment.
That
So
actually happened to me.
huh?
Yeah. Same thing. That happened to me as well too. I was in full marketing mode. I was ready to go into my pitch. I'm about ready to sell some stuff. And I was like, oh, I had to reel that back in. I was like, this person needs my help and I need to get on a call with that person.
That's amazing, that's wonderful. These are the type of things that give me faith in humanity. They give me hope because there are people that are paying attention. Someone will just gloss over it and just move on. And some people will just pause and be like, okay, we need to take a moment and we need to do something about it. Okay. So, and I know that you have the leadership skills to do that. So that's fine. So in leadership, right? You've taken so many hats throughout your life, and the most important one is the fact that you have been a leader in the military, right? What did you take away from it, and how do you apply it now in your life?
If you are willing to listen to the people that you serve, you will be a great leader. And I had to learn that. And that comes with empathy and compassion. So within the military, I'm going to share an acronym, and it's one that you're most likely familiar with, and that's the acronym leadership. That's loyal. That's the Army values, loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, personal courage. Okay. And it was one of those things to where I had to learn selfless service. Not even going to sugarcoat that. I had to learn selfless service because throughout my military career, I was only worried about my progression. I was only worried about what does it take for me to get to that next level, that next rank, that next job, that next position. And until I understood as I got into the senior levels of leadership that leadership is really more about serving others and making sure that they have the tips, tools, techniques, resources, and ability to progress within their career, that's where leadership for me became a different story. That's where leadership for me became, I need to set the example. I need to be, know, and do the example. You've also heard that as well too. And there's a lot of people that just they don't be, know, do the example. They're out for themselves. They're selfish service instead of selfless service. And it's one of those things that when I started that shift, that's when I really started noticing a big difference within my career and within my life. Now, it didn't really fare well positively for me because unfortunately, there's a lot of leaders that still are selfish. And when they see people being selfless, they're kind of looked down upon in certain measures. And I experienced that. It was like, Sergeant Thompson, why are you up there doing that? Because it's a job and it needs to get done, and I'm giving my soldiers a break. I'm
Mhm,
in tune with my people. I know what they're experiencing. I know what they're struggling with. And you know what? They need my help.
mhm,
So I'm going to do that.
mhm,
And even I mean, as a sergeant first class, I still didn't mind climbing up on roofs and getting dirty and doing these things.
mhm,
You got to do what you got to do sometimes, and that's where that leadership. Now, John Maxwell had a great quote. The two most important aspects of leadership is influence and impact. You gain influence by what you do, not necessarily by what you say, because I can say all kinds of things. But what I do sets the example for others to want to follow, to want to emulate. And when you can do that, that right there provides influence, which has a positive impact on their life and the overall mission.
mhm. I think that's where I got my idea of self-integration because I had to learn that as well.
Mm,
Um, I well, I still am to an extent. I think you could pick up on my personality like that. I used to be like an overachiever. So it was either you achieve or you get out the way. Either you achieve or you get out the way. So for me, finding that balance of, okay, it's not about you and your achievements. There are other people you have to consider as well. So that was where I started to be like, okay, so where's the balance for me? Where's the balance for me? And I think that's where the military comes into play, because it teaches you about this idea of, okay, yes, you can be a leader, but then you have to humble yourself. You can accomplish all these things. I mean, you look at the people like the Navy SEALs, all of these people, you see their achievements, their accomplishments, but then when you meet them, you see that they're humble. They're not trying to tear you down, because, they know that if they want to tear you down, they can. And we know that. But then they still choose to approach people with a certain level of humility, kindness, compassion, and integrity, and all of that. And I think that's where, I understand the struggle for you, where you wanted to achieve first before you put other people into consideration. So self-integration, what is your idea on that? How would you feel about self-integration, the idea of balancing, the toughest part of you with, the calm, confident, and collect part of you?
Mhm. So self-integration is where I started being a part of the team instead of simply leading the team, because I've seen way too many leaders that say I'm in charge. And I never felt like I was in charge. Yeah, that's my duty, that's my position, that's my title, if you will. And there's lots of people that hide behind all of those. I never hid behind any of that. Like, I integrated so well within my team, they actually thought and felt that I was a part of the team. And that's where you build that trust, that know, like, and trust factor. And believe me, there was some roadblocks there. There was some people that were just, they didn't really feel like they were a part of the team, and I struggled with that. And in the military, there's developmental counseling. Developmental counseling all day long, it's not the end all be all, and it will not solve every single problem. Sometimes you just have to get personal with your personnel. And I remember I had a first sergeant one time. It wasn't my first sergeant. He was, another first sergeant, but he said, if you was in my company, I would have fired you if you would have got personal with my personnel, kind of a thing. And I was like, you know what? You never really know what other people are going through unless you put themselves in their shoes. And, when this person is struggling with something, when this person is not performing well, when this person's at work and you've got, like, you're downloading equipment and uploading equipment, getting ready for the field, there's a lot going on there. And if you're not in tune with your people, if you're not well integrated into the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions, the energy of your people, you will never be able to lead them. You will never be able to serve them, and you will never be able to achieve success at different levels. Now, here's where it really gets interesting. I've led soldiers that were better than me.
Mm.
They were better than me, and I loved it. You know why I loved it? Because they filled in the gaps and bridged the gaps where I had weaknesses. And that's what made the team stronger. But if I wasn't able or even willing to not necessarily submit to that, but understand that, you know what? You're good here. I need you there. You're good there. I need you there. You have to self-integrate yourself within the team to understand those roles and those positions and those things. So here's what I used to do. I used to do role reversal, junior leadership days. I work for you. You're now in charge. You counsel me. You tell me what to do. I will do what you tell me. And what that does is that builds leaders, that builds teamship, that builds camaraderie, that builds a sense of empathy. I know what you're going through because I've done what you've done. You know what I'm going through because you're now doing what it is that I'm doing. And when you're able to put yourself into the team like that right there, you're well integrated to where you're growing leaders, you're building team, and you will build a sense of camaraderie that anybody will do anything for you because they know you care.
Mm. Yes, this is absolutely. How do I'm speechless, because I do understand that. And uh, I mean, thank you so much, Terry, for coming on this podcast. I know that you have something else to do. So before we go, is there one advice that you could give us that could help us go through leadership on our own, or pick up a partner, or do something if we're starting a business? How do we begin to establish ourselves as business leaders?
Lead yourself first so that you can lead everything else.
Mm, yeah.
Lead yourself first so that you can lead everything else. And everything else is all encompassing within people, equipment, data analytics, logistics, building this, building that, doing this, doing it's everything. Lead yourself so that you can lead everything, but give yourself permission and grace to fail
Mm,
so that you can fail forward. And here's the reason why I say that. When you lead yourself, you can lead everything else. When you give yourself grace, you will not be so tied to the outcome. And a lot of leaders are tied to the outcome. For me, I'm tied to the action. And that's the one thing that I can control is my attitude and my action. But if I didn't lead myself first, I wouldn't even be able to lead either one of those and I would fail in everything that I do.
yeah, yeah. Lead yourself first, educate yourself, your mind, your mindset, and take care of your people. That's all. Take care of the people that you're responsible for. So thank you again, Terry, for joining me on this podcast. And I'll be talking to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much for
All right.
having me. I had a great time talking with you.